Angela Rayner's unraveling on live TV was more than a stumble. It was a seismic shock to the foundations of her credibility and, by extension, the stability of the Labour Party itself. What unfolded was not just a moment of human vulnerability but a glaring exposure of political fragility at a time when clarity and strength are non-negotiable. In a high-stakes environment where every word is scrutinized, Rayner's visible unease and stammering responses were not only a personal misstep but a betrayal of the public's demand for decisive leadership. This wasn't a minor gaffe in the grand scheme of politics. It was a rupture, one that could cost Labour dearly as the next general election looms. The fallout has been immediate and unforgiving. Critics and commentators alike have seized on this moment as emblematic of Labour's deeper struggles. Rayner's inability to deliver a coherent, assured narrative in the face of tough questioning underscores a troubling trend within the party: a lack of focus, vision, and leadership. For a party already fighting to regain its footing after years of electoral setbacks, this misstep has become ammunition for its detractors, who argue that Labour's inability to project confidence will alienate the very voters it needs to win back. In a political climate as volatile as post-Brexit Britain, where uncertainty defines the national mood, hesitation and incoherence are fatal flaws. Rayner's performance couldn't have come at a worse time. With the Tories seeking to claw back support after a bruising few years, Labour's task was to present itself as a credible, unified alternative. Instead, Rayner's faltering responses have handed their opponents a lifeline, reinforcing the narrative that Labour remains incapable of rising to the occasion. Political analysts are already warning that this moment could mark a turning point, one that sees Labour squander its chance to capitalise on Conservative weaknesses. The stakes are enormous, and the electorate's appetite for excuses is at an all-time low. What's most damning is not just the optics of Rayner's stumble but the message it sends about Labour's readiness to govern. Leadership, particularly in these turbulent times, is about projecting strength, clarity, and control. Rayner's inability to articulate a clear vision for her party, or even to navigate the pressures of a live interview, sends a dangerous signal to voters who are desperate for stability. It raises questions not just about her own competence but about the party's judgment in promoting her to such a prominent position. Is this the person who can steer the ship through the storm? The answer, for many, is increasingly unclear. Within Labour's ranks, the knives are already out. Senior figures have voiced their frustration in no uncertain terms, with some privately questioning whether Rayner's position is tenable. Veteran MP Yvette Cooper's blunt assessment that the party can't afford to be seen as a party that can't communicate its values has struck a chord among members who fear the long-term consequences of such high-profile missteps. For a party that has struggled to shake off its reputation for infighting and disorganization, Rayner's performance threatens to reignite old divisions, plunging Labour back into a cycle of internal strife just as it seemed to be gaining ground. The broader implications are even more alarming. Rayner's struggles risk alienating key demographics, particularly younger voters who crave authenticity but demand competence. A leader who falters under pressure risks being seen as out of touch, unprepared, or simply unfit for the challenges ahead. For these voters, who hold the keys to Labour's electoral future, Rayner's failure to rise to the occasion may feel like a betrayal of their hopes for change. The party's inability to inspire confidence could drive them into apathy or, worse, into the arms of rival parties that seem more capable of delivering on their promises. The Conservative Party, meanwhile, is undoubtedly watching this drama with a mix of relief and anticipation. For them, every Labour misstep is an opportunity to regroup and reclaim lost ground. Rayner's meltdown has not only given them a reprieve from their own troubles but a powerful weapon to wield against Labour in the months ahead. By framing Labour as divided, unfocused, and led by figures who crumble under pressure, the Tories can seize the narrative and position themselves as the only viable option for a country in crisis. The question now is whether Labour can contain the damage. Rayner's allies insist that this was a one-off, a moment of human frailty that shouldn't define her or her party's future. But politics is rarely forgiving, and the electorate's memory is long. Labour must act decisively to restore confidence, not just in Rayner but in its broader leadership and vision. Every day that passes without a clear, unified response to this debacle is another day that Labour risks losing the trust of the public. This isn't just about Angela Rayner. It's about the soul of the Labour Party and its ability to rise to the moment. The UK stands at a crossroads, and the public is crying out for leaders who can bring clarity, courage, and conviction to the table. Rayner's stumble is a stark reminder of what's at stake. The clock is ticking, and the electorate is watching. Labour must decide whether to rally behind their deputy leader and whether the storm or to cut their losses and chart a new course. The fight for Labour's future is far from over, but the window for action is closing. In politics, perception is everything, and the perception right now is of a party that's not ready to lead. If Labour doesn't address this crisis head-on, it risks not just losing the next election but cementing its reputation as a party perpetually on the brink of self-destruction. This is a pivotal moment, and the choices made in the coming weeks will determine not just the fate of Angela Rayner but the future of the Labour Party itself.